Mr. Brennan,
Present.
Mr. Rickman,
Here.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Here.
Mr. Vine,
Here.
Mr. Davis, Mayor Benjamin.
Here. And we're going to work our way through some technical challenges. Ms. Devine's camera, she wants to be on camera. We're trying to work through that. And also Mr. Davis is working through some technical issues. So he's going to join us momentarily. Reverend McDowell, would you join us, bless us with a word, please?
Yes. Creator God, the beauty of this day enraptures us with warmth and grace. This past week, we have had numerous acts of violence in our city. Lives have been lost, and for others, hope has been dashed and deferred. Our team has worked diligently to help curtail the actions of others, but it seems as if there's no hope. Persons are calling for hope out of hopelessness. We pray for families that are experiencing the death of others, but in the midst of loss, we pray for you personally and individually today. The word says, is there a word from the Lord in the midst of chaos? Hope and trust in the Lord, and that hope and trust will direct our path. Bless us and keep us individually and collectively as a city. And to those who put their lives on the line, allow them to sense your nearness. We ask it, we claim it in the name of Him who comes. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, the proposed amendments to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of the agenda with the following additions or deletions, deferring item number 42 and adding to item number 44, colony apartments, and an additional item, police policies.
Thank you, Mr. Duval. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion with the previous question? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis, Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Is there a motion to approve council minutes of May 4th and May 11th, 2021?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
There's a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Thank you.
Awesome.
All
Mayor
right.
Benjamin and council, I have a few acknowledgements that I would like to make if you would so indulge me. As you know, that we as a city, we often find efficiencies by bringing on young interns to work with us. And when we do that, they also learn in the process. Well, we've also now engaged in a partnership with ICMA, which is the International City and County Managers and Administrators Association, with veterans. So we realize that we can get knowledge and share knowledge across the board, young and not so young. But we, at this point, even we wanted to do it during When the pandemic had started, we couldn't, so we've now been able to move forward with this partnership. And so I want to take a point of privilege to introduce Captain Trayvon Jordan. This is quite an accomplishment for him, but he is participating in the ICMA Veteran Local Government Management Fellowship Program in support of providing transition service members with management training and hands-on experience in the local government environment to prepare them for smooth transition into civilian workforce and potentially public sector careers. And this is a 16 to 20 week program aimed at helping to identify and develop the next generation of talented individuals to assume management positions within the local government profession. So I'm truly excited that Captain Jordan has joined us. He's been working with Budget and Program Management Director Missy Kaufman as she onboarded him. And we're pleased to have Trayvon with us. He was a captain in the U.S. Marines. Captain Jordan was most recently stationed at Camp Pendleton in California. He's a native of Columbia and is a graduate of the University of South Carolina in criminal justice and a member of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, Mayor Benjamin, and Reverend McDowell and Mr. Davis, another one of those wonderful fraternities like you all are members of. He is planning to enroll at William and Mary Law School in the fall of 2021. While at the City of Columbia, he is currently assigned to the Columbia Police Department and to the Office of Business Opportunities. Captain Jordan is passionate about serving his community, and we are very excited again for this opportunity and to be a part of assisting Captain Jordan in his career development. So Captain Jordan, Missy, are we sharing our screen? I'm not sure if we were able to have, there he is.
Yes.
Hey, Captain Jordan.
Thank you so much for the introduction. That's way better than I could have said, 100%. I've been in the Marine Corps 9 years, left out of Fort Jackson in 2012. I'm a field artillery officer. And like Ms. Wilson said, I grew up here. This is my home, so I decided to come back. And thanks to the chief and all the crew at OBO, I've been able to learn a lot, and I'm looking forward to working with a lot more people in the city and just experience as much as I can. Thank you.
Fantastic, Captain. Welcome, welcome. Wishing you the very best, man.
Thank
you. Even if you're one of those Go Mob guys, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome again, Captain Jordan. I'm looking forward to working with you personally as well. See you soon. Mayor Benjamin, we also have, we've had a series of retirements here lately. And so
before you go on, that was wonderful. Just hearing you read the amazing achievements in service. And Jordan just had this, he's a young man, this young age in life, service to the country as well. That felt good. That felt good. And knowing he's one of our own as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Please.
Certainly worth recognizing. We have to stop and do that sometimes. So thank you for allowing us to have him and to recognize him. Again, we're onboarding folks, and then we're experiencing retirements as well. And we wanted to recognize today Ms. Susan Ryan, CD Coordinator for the City of Columbia Community Development Department. Susan retired on April 30th, 2021 after 20 years of service. During Susan's tenure with the city, she worked in community development in various capacities. She began working as a senior administrative secretary, and as a result of her hard work, commitment, and dedication, Susan held the following positions: office assistant, loan processor, senior loan processor, NSP coordinator, business analyst, and grant coordinator. She was our go-to person, of course, when anyone needed answers about how much money remained in a grant, if checks were ordered or funds wired for loan closings, or anything to do with the department's budget. Susan held a wealth of the institutional knowledge that we all relied on and will truly be missed. We congratulate her on her retirement and reaching such a milestone in life, and we will miss Susan, but we wish her the very best.
Amen. Always with a smile too.
Always. It's Gloria, is Susan on with us today? I'm not sure what technology allowed, but we will miss her. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And one more pretty special one. And I know the video is going to come on for this one, but we recognize Professional Municipal Clerks Week this month. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan signed a proclamation that officially declared Professional Municipal Clerks Week the first full week of May. And in 1994 and 1996, President Bill Clinton also signed proclamations confirming Professional Municipal Clerks Week. The International Institute of Municipal Clerks marks Professional Municipal Clerks Week every year to call attention to the wonderful work of municipal clerks. The 52nd annual observance took place on May 2nd through the 8th, 2021. Municipal Clerks Week is a time of celebration and reflection on the importance of the municipal clerks. The purpose is to extend appreciation to the municipal and deputy clerks for the services they provide to their communities. We want today to recognize Ms. Erica Moore Hammond for her crucial function as the City of Columbia Clerk, one of the oldest positions in local government. Mrs. Hammond has been with the city for almost 20 years, coming August of 2021. She plays a critical role in helping administer the city and council meetings. She goes above and beyond her job duties, as we have just watched her do, getting ready for this meeting with our technical difficulties. Mrs. Hammond strives through all and improves the administration of the affairs of the office of the city clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of the state, county, and international professional organizations to better the link between our citizens, local government, and agencies. It is most appropriate that we stop and recognize the accomplishments of the office of the city clerk. And I think Erica recently completed another degree amongst all that she is always doing for us. I just could not function without her, and that's just simply stated, and she's the best. So there she is. Hey, beautiful, with your flowers. We're giving your flowers today, Miss Erica. Thank you.
Thank you.
You said critical and indispensable and amazing in so many different ways. We have the very best clerk in the entire country, if not the world. We love you, Erica, and we're thankful for you. Thank you for all the hard work you give us every single day.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mr. Duval.
I would like to say amen to everything you just said about Erica, but I would also like to point out that the clerk position is the only position that's required in municipal government in South Carolina. All 271 cities are required to have a clerk, and that's it. And in a huge amount of our small cities in South Carolina, the clerk does everything: finance officer, administrator, everything. And I always told them when I talked to the Municipal Finance Officer and Clerk Treasurers Association how important they were. And Erica certainly carries on that tradition with the largest and maybe the largest city in South Carolina.
Absolutely.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you. Thank you, Erica. Mr. McDowell, please.
Erica, you are a gift to us and, of course, to this city. You are just simply and totally amazing. You've helped each one of us in addition to everything that you do for this city. Thank you very much for your creativity, for your wisdom, and for the things that are done in a very humble yet demanding way. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate Erica for setting the bar high. She has always made sure her assistants are trained so that the bench is, we keep that bench warm. And I wanted to tell you, Erica, that Miss Lady Grajales was making sure that we recognize this this important position, and she's so thankful that she's learning from you, and we're thankful for Lady as well.
They are. Thank you, Teresa.
I'm sorry, guys. Can I add one other thing? Just to add to everything that Erica does for us, we also know that she does all of our municipal elections, also works and helps Richland County during elections where there's no municipal elections. And currently, she is actually working with a pilot program with South Carolina Women in Leadership, trying to, working on a grant that they have, trying to help other cities with their boards and commissions and other things. And so when SC Will wanted an expert, they went to Erica. So I just wanted to add, not only does she give her all to us, but she gives so much to others that makes not just municipal government, but just government in South Carolina so much better.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Beach.
I just want to say thank you. I thank God for my position with the City of Columbia. It means so much more to me than you all could ever recognize, because you all gave me a chance when I was a single mother raising 4 kids who are now grown. Some have graduated from college, but they're all out on their own. But it gave them the opportunity to have a hero at home, and they didn't have to look outside their house to see a young woman rising above her circumstances. So I just thank you all for that. I love my job. I love each and every one of you, and I'm just grateful to be here, grateful just for a chance to establish my legacy as part of the City of Columbia family. And today, what you said and the things that you've done will never be forgotten. Thank you all.
All right, I move we adjourn. I think we're good.
I know, Bear.
Before Ed starts passing the plate, thank you, Erica. Your life really has been a testimony for so many of us, more than you could ever imagine, my friend. More than you could ever imagine. So thank you for being you.
Well said, Mayor. Thank you, Miss E. Love you much.
See, I love y'all too. Y'all got me on this one. Thank you all.
Okay, Mayor Benjamin. So we will move into our City Council discussion and action items. Mayor Benjamin, I know may have a few comments regarding our COVID-19 update, and we will also hear from Mr. Harry Tinsley, Emergency Management Director, for a situational report.
Let's go straight to the sit rep from Chief Tinsley.
Okay, go ahead, Harry.
Okay, hey, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and Madam City Manager. Kudos to you, Erica. I love working with you. There's some additional information as normal in your inbox. So far, the worldwide COVID-19 numbers stand at 163.7 million global cases. Unfortunately, there are north of 3.3 million deaths due to COVID-19. That's according to Johns Hopkins University data. According to the CDC, as of the 17th of May, the U.S. has over 32.7 million confirmed cases, and our death count stands in the U.S. at 583,074. Here in the state, confirmed case counts as of today's report out is 589,164. There have been to date over 7.7 million tests completed, and the new case count report out today is 112. That's a 3.7% positivity rate. Unfortunately, there were DHEC reported out 2 additional confirmed deaths today, and that brings our state total to 8,502 confirmed deaths. Here in Richland County, 39,370 cases. We had an additional 8 new cases that reported out today. Our deaths for Richland County stand at 495. Of noting, the recent 14-day reporting zip code period from May 3rd to May 16th, there were 599 cases. So we're now averaging in Richland County 42, just a little over 42 new cases each day. And that's down, continues to trend downward, which is encouraging. For that sample, the zip code with the highest number of cases reported out at 29229, and that was at 75. You'll note that we have been trending over 100 and many of them over 500, but we've been steadily at 500. So we're trending. I'm staying at 100. We're trending down, and that's encouraging. The recent disease activity incident rate that reported out as of May 12th, Richland County's 14-day, we continue to be at low. Our case count rate is 114.7 per 100,000. That continues to trend downward each one of those reporting cycles. Our percent positive for Richland County is 3.9%. And the estimated state recovery rate continues to hover at 97.4%. The case fatality rate is estimated at 1.73%. And as we are continuing to watch, the case counts that are reported out for our state remain roughly stable. And the state experts do not anticipate any large fluctuations in case counts over the next several weeks. The hospital bed utilization remains stable. As of today, there were 319 patients currently hospitalized due to COVID-19. That's down about 85%. If you notice, it peaked back in January of this year at 2,417. So we're in a good position. And the DHEC data of all 7 key indicators continue to trend downward or trending downward and are roughly stable. DHEC continues with the vaccine distributions. Our state has received over 4.7 million doses, and over 3.2 million South Carolinians have received their doses for COVID-19 vaccine. Here in Richland County, 152,700 residents have received at least one vaccine, and 123,837 have completed their vaccination process. And of noting, the federally supported community vaccination site at Columbia Place Mall has administered over 10,000 Pfizer vaccines over that 4-week period, averaging about 383 doses per day. They're now offering both first and second dose shots. Also, they will begin offering the J&J or the Janssen vaccine will be offered on week 7 and 8. That is an 8-week program at that site. As of May 16th, approximately 34.8% of South Carolina's population have received vaccines. You'll notice that ticked down just a tad. That's because those populations from the 12 and up to 15 are now included in that. So we encourage that process to continue. According to the CDC's latest numbers, as of the 17th of May on COVID-19 vaccines, over 123 million citizens of the U.S. population have been fully vaccinated. That's 37.3%. And over 157 million, or 47%, have received at least one dose. Also noting the 65 and older group that have been fully vaccinated in the U.S. stands at 72.8%. Also, as of May 11th, the report out, there were 125 cases of the South African variant. There were also 555 cases of the UK variant, and then 19 cases of the Brazilian strain. And according to the case studies that are out there now, and the data that is being looked at, the current vaccines do provide some level of immunity to those strains as well. DHEC continues to monitor that as we continue moving forward in the pandemic. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I have one question?
Go ahead, Mr. Vine.
Just Harry, I know you said 34.8% of South Carolinians have been vaccinated. Do we have what the Richland County percent is?
In your inbox in a second. I'm sorry, I was looking at a couple of different things. Looks like 152,700. That would be of the population of 12. I have to pull that for Richland County, but I would say it's over 300 or something thousand. But I will get that to you here in a second.
Okay, if you could just send it to me, no hurry. Thank you.
County,
Thank you.
It'd be interesting, Harry, in seeing that, county population is over 400,000, but obviously we're talking about those who are certain age and up. That would be certainly helpful to know. If there are any other questions, I want to say got some good feedback from the city manager and her team on our overall strategy going forward as to how to continue to encourage people to pursue vaccinations. We've been able to assess the strength and some of the technical abilities of our existing system, reverse 911 and Everbridge system that actually has some significant flexibility will help us do some things. They also have some other upcoming meetings with some technical folks who may help us also stretch a little bit further. So they'll be reporting back to us on that very soon.
Mr. Mayor, the Tamika sent out the Ohio plan this morning, and we may be able to get a miniaturized version of the Ohio plan to incentivize vaccinations.
The $1 million lottery plan.
Well, how about $500?
You'd be amazed at how it incentives work. Carrot and stick. Thank you, Harry. Thank you for the continuous data. It's one of my very first reads every day. So we look forward to it. Let's keep the numbers going down, y'all. We can do this. We're going to do it together, though. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Just a quick note, just to pull some quick data. According to the DHEC's vaccine dashboard, population plus 12 in Richland County is 353,173. Gives us, Councilwoman Devine, looks like about 44% have received at least one dose in Richland County. But I'll confirm that data and get something back to you.
Harry, anything?
Thank you, Harry.
Yeah, Harry, anything even anecdotal on the response of the 12 and above, the young teens? We're seeing pretty robust response.
I have not gotten any empirical data on that, Mr. Mayor. I do know that there have been some folks have been going to the Columbia Place Mall location, and as you know, that requires a parental waiver. But I'll continue to watch that and get you some information on that too. I'll make a note of that.
Super. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if I could add, I'm working with W.A. Perry, and we've got a vaccination site at the school on Saturday. And so waivers have gone out into the community. And so hopefully we'll see a good response. I'm going to have my 15-year-old vaccinated at that same time. So I'll be able to report to you guys next week how it's looking as far as our young people.
My newly minted 14-year-old got her shot last week. First shot. She was willing to have it televised, but not willing to talk to the camera. So
didn't take after her daddy.
Let's get that part from my mama. Mr. McDowell.
Yes, just one note, of course. We had an event on this past Saturday, and we had more children, not children, of course, 12-year-olds and above, who wanted to take that shot. This was an outdoor event. The nurses were there under a tent, and we plan to do that again. That movement is almost like a groundswell within each community. When folk can't get to Columbia Mall, they are coming locally into that community. And that's the intent of trying to make this vaccination effort a success.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. Let's keep moving forward together.
Yes, sir.
City Manager?
Yes, sir, Mayor. At this time, we will also bring Mr. Matt Kennel on for a presentation. I think there he is. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Matt.
President and CEO of the City Center Partnership, and he will present our Main Street Business Improvement District renewal.
Thank you very much, Ms. City Manager. We really appreciate that. Honorable Mayor, City Council members, City Attorney and staff, and also Erica. I can't say enough about good things about her. She's worked here as long as I have, and every experience has been wonderful. We're really blessed to have her in this city. Let me start a short presentation just to go over what we need to do today, and we'll go from there.
Sure.
All right, we on slide one? All right, we're trying to get this up. There we go. Why renew? We are at that period where we need to renew the City Center Business Improvement District, as we now call it, the Main Street Business Improvement District, for the third time. We started in 2001 with the help of the city as partners to form the first business improvement district, or the first service providing municipal improvement district in South Carolina. And we have renewed it twice, and we're asking to start the renewal process again today with your help. The CCP was formed, as I said, in 2001. We manage the 36 block, you can see the map in front of you, district, which is bounded by Gervais, Elmwood, Assembly, and Marion Streets. What we do is we focus on filling vacancies in commercial properties, retaining existing downtown businesses and recruiting new ones, and really making the area a safe, clean, and friendly downtown environment. That's the baseline of everything that we do. As we said, we have been working since to do this bid for many, many years and hope to do it for 10 more years with your help. A couple of slides I'd like to show you. At council's urging, after the first renewal of the bid in 2007, we really focused on storefronts and creating more retail in the area. City Council funded a retail study, which we've been implementing since that time. And it's really interesting. I wanted to show you this slide. These were the merchants that we had in the area in 2007. And then you can see what we've got now in 2020. It is a dramatic improvement. And now, at least pre-pandemic, our biggest problem was finding good storefronts in the district because so many have been filled with your help and with the capital improvements the city has done for streetscape and parking. Another slide that I think is very important to us and to the city is how property values have increased since the bid started back in 2002. At the end of the first year, the total property values, the assessed value was just over 300 million. By 2018, that had reached 500 million. And we haven't updated our slide yet because we just got this information. But as of 2020, it was just under 600 million in value. And that's significant. We've increased over $100 million in just 2 years. So there has been a large growth in the assessed values of the business improvement district area. And that does help the bid. It does help the bid do more, but it also helps the city do more because, as you know, most of that money goes for schools and for police protection and those kind of things in our city. So it's good for everybody in the city.
Mm-hmm.
As we move along, these were 2019 figures pre-pandemic, but this will give you an idea of where we were or where we are now. At that time, we had about 800 housing units in the area. We had the average residential rent at $11.50 and over 2,000 people living in the downtown area. That is increasing, by the way. Within the next year, we are going to see another year to 2 years, another 1,000 people in the business improvement district. As you know, thanks to your help, the large EDGE student housing project was approved, and I'm hearing we'll break ground here this summer. In addition to that, we now have 2 developments underway on either end of Lady Street. And of course, the old VA building, which the city played an invaluable role in saving that building and not letting it get torn down, will also be renovated. So we're looking at adding another 1,000 people within the next 2 years to the downtown area. And that's very significant. And I think a good reason to keep the area clean and safe because the demands are going to get much higher. Let me move to the next slide. I wanted to show you this figure too. This is one, we actually had the University of South Carolina graduate students, geography students, do an analysis of taxable value per lot in the downtown area. And what you can see from these slides is the towers in particularly generate a tremendous amount of revenue for the city and really drive the value of what we would say for the business improvement district. We have been all about density. This is one of the areas, as you know, that does not have parking requirements. So we are able to move forward with some very dense development, and it pays off. As of 2019, the taxable density of the Main Street district was over $2 million per acre. And that's very significant. That exceeds by 3 times the value per acre, for example, of 5 Points, which is lower density. And even the Vista, it's about 10 times of the Vista. This area is much smaller and has much bigger buildings. So per acre, the citizens of Columbia are getting a lot of bang for their buck from the Main Street Business Improvement District. Right. I saved this slide for one of the last because we love our Yellow Shirt ambassadors. We are very, very fortunate to have a team of 11 men and women that are out on the streets 7 days a week from 7:30 until 11:30 at night, and now until 1 a.m. on Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays with the additional nightlife that we're seeing to really keep this area sparkling clean and friendly and safe. We actually have a total of 13 positions. We do have 2 frozen because of the pandemic situation that we've been in for the last year, but we hope to get up to 13 again in the very near future. And as the bid grows, we do hope to increase that staff to provide the necessary cleaning and security for the area. One footnote of this that we're very proud of is the average retention of our Yellow Shirt ambassadors is over 7 years, which is the highest of over 100 cities that we have studied that have ambassador teams. We are #1 in retention of our ambassadors. And that says a lot about the kind of community this is. And these are just great people. And thank you for your support to keep them on the job.
We love the ambassadors, Matt. We love the ambassadors.
Thank you very much. We do too. We also track everything they do. I'm not sure if City Council knows this, but we actually use what we call as the SMART system, and we track everything they do. This was pre-pandemic numbers. This was 2019. But to give you an idea, in that year, we did almost 26,000 hospitality assists. That's helping people with any need they might have in the downtown area. In that year, we removed over 290 tons of trash and garbage in 1 year from the downtown area. And that's why it looks so good. And gave almost 100,000 shuttles, free shuttles of people in and around the downtown area. The shuttle program has been put on pause because of the pandemic, but we hope to get that cranked up very soon as soon as we feel it is safe to do so for both the public and our employees. Another real strong spot in the bid, particularly for the past 10 years, is we are by far the host for more events and more numbers of people than anywhere in the city. And we have to provide services for them. First Thursday in 2019 had over 14,000 people. For example, Famously Hot New Year, 24,000, Jam Room Music Festival, 10,000, the Greek Festival, 175,000, the Soda City Market, thank you for your support of that, over 400,000. Pride Festival, Latin Festival, you just go on and on. There are over 100 events here annually in the downtown area once we get back on track. And that has a big impact in the whole quality of life in the area. We have now about 450 hotel rooms. We're running 75% occupancy, which we are again, by the way. We're back up to that number again. And we have 55 restaurants in the area, with 2 just opening up in the next couple of weeks. Lastly, I just wanted to provide you with a schedule that we've been working on with Erica and with the city attorney and the city manager that we'd like, I guess, for you to endorse today by the resolution, which comes up later on the agenda. But we are, as soon as council acts today, we hope to mail out information packets to our over 326 property owners in the bid. There will be a notice under this schedule in the state newspaper of the notice to renew the bid and the public hearing. The deadline for objections would be on June 15th. And under the current schedule, a public hearing would be held on June 15th to see if there is any opposition to renewing the bid. And hopefully we will hear from a number of people in support of the bid. We can tell you that as of today, we have talked to a number of the property owners downtown, starting with the largest property owners. And as of today, before we even send out the notice, we know we have 56% of the support of the property owners in the bid. So I can tell you that today, and that number we hope will increase once those packets go out. That's all I have today, but I am available for any questions that you may have. And we just want to thank you for your support, and hopefully we can keep doing this for another 10 years.
Fantastic report, and fantastic work over the last decade, Matt. We other places are looking to mimic your success. So we definitely need to continue to stay the course. Questions for Matt?
Mr. Mayor, I just have one. Matt, I know you said that the yellow shirts are going to 1 on the weekends. I know Howard and I have received a couple concerns about potential drag racing in the downtown parking garages. I know CPD is trying to monitor that, but with your folks right there in the center, are you observing the same? And can you tell us a little bit about what your people are seeing?
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman Devine. We have seen that. It is a problem. Our yellow shirts have responded and have done what they could to quiet the situation. But I really have to give a shout out to the Columbia Police Department. Captain Bell, our Metro Commander, I guess it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we mentioned that being a top concern of ours. And what we're hearing right now is that the situation is absolutely under control since the police have gotten really made sure that that is not a problem. We hope that will not flare up again later in the summer, but we were concerned about public safety with the fast driving through that garage, and some of the downtown residents were disturbed by the noise. But I believe the police have done a great job with it, and right now at this moment we're not getting any complaints.
Thank you.
Mr. Duval.
Matt, the 0.001844 that you have in the proposal, that's the same that you had the last 10 years?
Yes, and thank you for mentioning that. I actually had that in my notes to tell you that and did not do it. Yes, the assessment would remain the same, exactly the same. And there also is another layer of assessment, which a lot of folks don't know about. We actually also assess $4 per linear foot for the people that front on Main Street. We have actually discussed that assessment with all of the large property owners, and they're very happy with it. It generates only about $30,000 of the total, almost $1 million collected by the bid, but it does show the special emphasis on the Main Street district, and they've seen to continue.
The presentation that you had in our packet, I believe the figure in the last 10 years, and it did not have that last year that you mentioned a few minutes ago.
Yes, sir.
But there was a 42% increase in the property valuation in your bid area.
That is correct, and that's before adding the additional 100 million that has come on in the last 2 years.
And that would translate into a 42% increase in your revenue from the bid.
That is correct. Since the beginning, we actually over a 20-year period, the total revenue is about threefold what it was before for us, and then of course for the city and the county as well, and the school district.
Right. We also maybe a 300% increase in the number of people living down, and not even counting those working downtown. Yeah. So. All right. Any other questions for Matt? Matt, thank you. And please, I really mean that. We know the yellow shirts are known by name, and they make quality of life downtown that much more special. So appreciate the work you guys do. Keep it up. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your support.
Okay, buddy. All right. Be well.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
And thanks to all Carol and your entire team, Jenna and everyone.
Thank you. We do have a wonderful staff, and thank you.
Mayor Benjamin, our next presentation is from Ms. Catherine Matthews, the Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director of the Columbia Housing Authority, and Ms. Cindy Herrera, the Senior Vice President of Development for Columbia Housing. They will provide a Columbia Housing update, the Vision 2030.
Hey, ladies.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you all for having us here today on behalf of Columbia Housing's Board of Commissioners who are all joining us today via the YouTube channel and the staff. Thank you, Honorable Mayor Benjamin, honorable members of Columbia City Council, City Manager Wilson and staff for providing Columbia Housing the opportunity to present Vision 2030. Go to the next slide, Cindy. Our Vision 2030 is the strategic framework by which we, Columbia Housing, will use as our guiding principles over the next 9 years to reposition our entire public housing portfolio and create new quality, affordable housing in the city of Columbia and throughout Richland County through public-private partnerships utilizing private capital. Our plan includes the investment of over $500 million for preservation, redevelopment, and new construction of affordable housing. So in other words, this investment will not only improve the quality of our existing portfolio, it will also increase the supply of affordable housing in the city of Columbia and throughout Richland County. Through Vision 2030, we've engaged partnerships with nationally recognized and experienced affordable housing developers to help us accomplish this aggressive plan. I would be remiss if I didn't say this, but it is also important to note that this $500 million economic investment will not only provide quality affordable housing, but it will also result in a significant contribution to the local economy, expanding opportunities for minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and small business enterprises, all of which will satisfy Columbia Housing's MWSBE 30% participation goal. A little history about Columbia Housing for those who may not know. In 1934, Columbia Housing was created under the state of South Carolina's public housing enabling legislation to provide affordable housing for citizens with low and moderate incomes. Our mission is to leverage the power of housing to build a foundation for individuals and families to thrive. We provide affordable housing to 6,500 families throughout the city of Columbia and Richland County through our Housing Choice Voucher, public housing, and non-subsidized affordable housing programs. A little history too about public housing. While often used generally to represent all affordable housing, public housing is actually a specific federal program and was the first federal program to provide safe, decent, and affordable housing for low-income families. Since the 1990s, the federal commitment to the public housing program has greatly diminished and funding has been significantly reduced, resulting in a capital backlog of over $60 billion nationwide. Columbia Housing, as many housing authorities across the country, has been strongly encouraged by HUD to turn to the private market to address our backlog of capital needs. Next slide. As noted earlier in my presentation, Vision 2030 will reposition our entire public housing portfolio and create new affordable housing in the city of Columbia and throughout Richland County, again, using public-private partnerships and accessing private capital. This private capital will be leveraged with conversion tools provided by HUD that will result in the gradual elimination of public housing and transition to another affordable housing platform. The HUD conversion tools provide protections for residents. For example, tenant rent will remain the same, which is based on 30% of the monthly adjusted income. Tenants will also continue to receive rental assistance from HUD that will pay the difference between the tenant rent and the market rent. There is no negative impact on the family. In addition, Vision 2030 is a culmination of Columbia Housing's nearly 2 years of planning in which every public housing property, our 1,684 units, 28 communities, which is located in the city of Columbia and throughout Richland County, has been thoroughly assessed by third-party professionals, including architects, engineers, appraisers, and environmental consultants. Columbia Housing's public housing portfolio has capital needs of over $250 million. HUD has never adequately funded capital needs and statutorily prohibits public housing from accessing private capital to address those needs. Therefore, to address our over $250 million capital needs, we will transition our entire portfolio, public housing portfolio, to HUD's Rental Assistance Demonstration Program and other programs that will enable us to access market debt and equity for the preservation, redevelopment, and new construction of affordable housing. I'm now going to turn the remainder of the presentation over to Cindy Herrera, who is our Senior Vice President of Development, and she will elaborate more on the strategic framework and provide information on an update on all of our properties. Cindy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. As Ivory mentioned, we are working with the RAD program, which is a HUD program that basically will continue to provide rental assistance for converted public housing properties. It does this through a project-based voucher platform and a long-term contract that has to be renewed in perpetuity. The RAD program requires that the ownership of the properties continue to be through a public or a nonprofit entity. And in addition to that, there is a use agreement that's recorded on the properties to assure that they remain permanently affordable. To date, under the RAD program, there have been over 200,000 units of public housing that have converted. Those conversions have resulted in $11.6 billion of private capital that has been invested in our nationwide public housing stock. And in the state of South Carolina, there's been over 1,800 units that have been converted and raising $53.3 million of private capital. In October, when we began to launch this plan, we issued a national solicitation to bring in private partners that will work with us in this 2030 vision. And this is a sign of some of our partners. We are very pleased to see the response that we received. We have some of the best national affordable housing developers that have partnered with local organizations within the city of Columbia as well to build more capacity. And so we're very excited about the partners that we're working with as we move towards our vision for 2030. So I'm going to go through our various properties and share with you what their repositioning strategy is. Oaks at St. Anna's Park, which is the former Gonzalez Gardens property. This one has actually been in development for a while and has made significant progress. At this site, we are partnered with Mungo Construction Urban Manners, an affordable housing firm out of Washington, D.C. that partnered with Mungo. At the Oaks at St. Anna's Park development, we will be providing 95 units of housing specifically designated for seniors age 62 and older. We will have 190 family townhome units. The total development cost that will be brought into this project is a little over $58 million. All of that represents private capital. We anticipate closing in November of this year, and the construction would take not quite 18 months. So we would anticipate occupancy in April of 2023.
Ms. Herrera, you and Ms. Matthews, remind me, how many units were at the garden? About 200 total?
220.
220
were there. So we're actually bringing back more units than what was originally there.
Awesome.
Yes. The next project that we anticipate closing this year is the Haven at Palmer Point. This is located at Carter Street and Two Notch Road, the site that the Housing Authority has owned for about 5 years. This project is going to represent the replacement of the Marion Street high-rise units. This is a 3-story state-of-the-art senior citizen building. On the left-hand side, you'll see the site plan. We are partnered with a company called Brinshore, a nationally recognized affordable housing developer. They're based in the Chicago area. This project will have 150 units of senior housing, again, age 62 and older. The total development costs are a little over $31 million for this project, all private capital. And this one, we also hope to close in November with occupancy around the same time in April of 2023. The Allen Benedict Court and the Oak Reed high rise. Our partners for these developments is South Carolina Community Uplift and the Benoit Group. Benoit has partnered with South Carolina Uplift. Benoit is based in Atlanta, and we're excited that they've partnered with a local startup development organization in the city of Columbia. Allen Benedict Court will be demolished, and right now the preliminary plans call for new construction. We're estimating 168 units of senior housing and 195 units of family housing. We anticipate that this will close in the early second quarter of 2022. We are just beginning all of our preliminary planning. We hope to begin the demolition in June. We are awaiting HUD's final approval of the environmental release for the Allen Benedict Court project. The Oak Reed high rise, then, what we will do is we will utilize the new senior housing to be located at Allen Benedict Court to transfer the assistance from Oak Reed to the new senior building. Oak Reed currently has 111 units. We'll actually be adding additional units. And then we will basically be rehabbing the Oak Reed high rise building, and we'll be reducing the units somewhat there because we have multiple efficiency apartments, which are just not found real desirable by today's seniors. So we're going to be reducing Oak Reed high rise through a substantial rehab. That will not happen in 2023 in order to give us time to be able to relocate those residents to the new senior housing that will be built. The next two projects that we have targeted is Latimer Manor, which is a family development of 200 units currently, and Arrington Manor, which is a small senior development of 56 units. We've partnered with the Hallmark companies for Latimer Manor. Latimer Manor will be a RAD project. However, it will be a RAD demolition. We anticipate that we would demolish the existing units. We will replace then with new construction, approximately 220 rental units. And we're also adding a home ownership component to the Latimer Manor project, and anticipate we would have, give or take, approximately 50 home ownership units. And again, we anticipate a closing on this one in quarter of 2022. Arrington Manor, we've partnered with Penrose Development, and we anticipate that for Arrington Manor, when we rebuild between the senior housing that we'll be adding, we would move the residents from Arrington Manor to new senior housing, which would allow us to be able to use the RAD program to demolish the existing building and build a new senior facility on that site with approximately 80 units. The next projects are both of our family projects known as the Reserves at Faraway, as well as Dora Randall. And we've partnered with a very good joint venture partnership of Mercy Housing. Mercy Housing is the largest nonprofit affordable housing developer in the country. And they have partnered with a local F.A. Johnson Consulting Group. So again, very excited to see local developers partnered with larger organizations. Both of these properties we anticipate will be RAD projects that will be redeveloped by demolishing the existing housing and replacing it with new construction. These are very early in the planning stage, so we don't have exact numbers to share with you today. We'll bring that information back as we continue to update our 2030 plan. And then there are some properties that the Housing Authority will be managing and basically doing ourselves through our nonprofit. We have a new nonprofit called the South Carolina Affordable Housing Initiatives, Inc. We refer to it as SCI. Both Hammond Village and Lewis Scott Court, which is in Eastover in the county, are two properties that will be substantially rehabbed. They will be converted under RAD. We will utilize an FHA mortgage tool that will allow us to be able to rehab up to about $40,000 a door for these two properties. This will be done internally by Housing Authority, and we'll solicit general contractors who will do the rehab work. The next part of our portfolio is our very interesting and challenging portfolio, and these are our scattered site properties. We have a total of 18 small properties that range in size from about 10 units to 25 units. There are 18 of them with a total of 476 units that are scattered throughout the city. As we've assessed these properties, we've identified about 70 units that will need to be demolished and are not viable. and the other remaining units of this part of our portfolio will be rehabbed. Again, the Housing Authority will undertake this rehab ourselves. And then finally, our single family portfolio. We have 295 single family homes that are scattered throughout the city. As we've assessed over the last 4 months, an architect and engineering firm have been into every single home. We've identified that about 155 of these homes are in a condition in which they can be substantially rehabbed. We also have about 140 homes that are really not financially or physically viable to be able to rehab. So the units that we rehab, these units will be taken out of the public housing program under a disposition and partial demolition. Once they are removed from public housing, the units that will be rehabbed, we will launch a lease purchase program that will enable existing residents or new residents to be able to lease these homes for a period of time and be able to purchase them. The other units that are not viable to rehab will either be sold, or some of them are in such poor condition that they would be demolished. In addition to that, recognizing that we're going to lose some of our units because of their current condition, part of our solicitation was to bring in new development at sites that were controlled by the development team and not necessarily by the Housing Authority. So one of the projects that came forth and that we selected was the Village at Nazareth. This is a project with Columbia Empowerment Zone and Integral Development. Currently, they are anticipating that there would be a mixed use property there that would consist of 90 senior units, 160 family, and some commercial development. This project is still in the discussions with the development team, so we do not have any more specifics at this point in time on that project. We also have a project, we have 3 projects that are in Richland County. The Willows at Watery, we are partnered with Paces Preservation Partners. Again, they are a large nonprofit developer, and Soho Housing Partners. This project will have 2 components. It is located on Shakespeare Road and Roof Street, behind where the new Watery Community Development central office will be, out by the Columbia Mall. This will have 104 senior units, 160 family units. The total development cost are a little over $64 million. This one we anticipate closing early in 2022, with initial occupancy occurring in July of 23. Another project that we've partnered with both Paces and Soho on is called Hunt Club. This is a new development on Hunt Club Road in the county. This would be 160 family townhome units. The total development cost is a little over $39 million. This one also we hope to close in January with occupancy in July of 23. And then finally, another project in the county with Connolly Builders. Connolly is a longtime affordable housing developer in the Columbia area. Huntington Court, it's located at Trenham Road and O'Neill Court, also not far from the Columbia Mall. And this will consist of 228 family units with a total development cost of more than $40 million. The closing date in June of 2022 and initial occupancy in December of 23. So to kind of summarize our public housing portfolio, what we did is we went back and looked at, in 1998, the Housing Authority had 2,911 units of public housing. That included a lot of the developments that we've already begun to redevelop. Today, we have 1,684 units of public housing. In our Vision 2030 plan, we anticipate that there'll be an additional 323 units that we will lose because they simply aren't viable to be able to maintain. But we will also convert 1,361 units. So by 2030, the Housing Authority and the City of Columbia will no longer have any traditional public housing. But our Vision 2030 plan calls for 1,550 units of new development that does not currently exist, plus the 1,361 units that we will preserve through conversion will take us back to our pre-1999 portfolio of 2,911 units. So one of the primary goals of our Vision 2030 plan was not only to make sure that we do not have any net loss of affordable housing units, but really to bring back to the original public housing units that the Housing Authority had. And so these will be units that will be affordable to the very low income families that we've always served through the Columbia Housing Authority. In addition to our own portfolio, the Housing Authority is also serving as a conduit for multifamily housing revenue bonds. We facilitate affordable housing for private developers. These are developments in which the Housing Authority does not have any ownership interest, does not provide any subsidy, but through the multifamily tax exempt bond program, we're able to ensure that the developers can build affordable housing. The reason that we do this is because the tax exempt bonds provide a substantial savings in interest costs on the long-term debt, which enables these units to become affordable. And this is doable as long as the issue of the bonds is a unit of local government. In addition to that, a significant financial advantage is that these particular bonds allow for 50% of the costs that are financed with the bonds to qualify for non-competitive federal and now very happily state low-income housing tax credits, which creates equity. So through the lower interest cost as well as the equity that's generated, these properties have restricted rents and they serve families with incomes at no more than 60% of the area median. Currently in our pipeline, this is a list of the multifamily bond transactions that are pending. Palmetto Terrace actually closed. Thank you, City of Columbia, for supporting that. Once the Housing Authority issues the bonds, it also goes through the city, and the city ultimately approves all of these projects. And as you can see, we have a couple of additional preservation projects. These 3 projects that are preservation, these are a total of over $49 million of redevelopment that will go into these 3 projects. These are existing projects in which a new developer is acquiring and conducting rehab. These 3 properties all have a current Section 8 subsidy contract that goes directly through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The Housing Authority does not administer these subsidy contracts. And then in addition to that, we have in the pipeline 1,128 affordable housing units that are all new construction. And this totals about $222 million. All of these projects that we have currently induced and are in the pending pipeline basically are expected to close throughout the middle to late 2022. So we're very pleased to be able to facilitate additional affordable housing through private developers that the Housing Authority doesn't necessarily own, manage, or control. So that's our presentation, and we'd like to be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, but before we move to questions, I'd just like to say again, just want to thank you to city staff and the mayor and city council. We cannot do any of this work without your support. All of these projects must come through your office in some form. So thank you so much for supporting affordable housing for our citizens here in the city of Columbia.
Well, thank you all. What a great and comprehensive report. Thank you. I had a couple of brief questions, nothing heavy. I assume that a lot of projects, and keep them coming. We like it. As you take people out of units or demolish, are we sequencing kind of where people move to, so there's no disruption as much as possible?
Yes. Our goal is certainly to sequence as much as possible. With the Marion Street project, since that's the first that we're currently moving people out of the Marion Street property. Of course, those units the replacement units that we're building on Carter Street won't be available during the move process, but those residents will have the opportunity to relocate to that Carter Street property. And then after that, everything else will be sequenced so that as we're taking down the development, we'll have something new for our residents to relocate to.
And obviously I know with the RAD program, I mean, it's an exciting program. I know folks have been using the full private sector capital how's that treated for property taxes? Do we know, do we treat it just as it's owned by the housing authority? Is it kind of how's that handled?
Yeah, it's owned in a partnership, but with the housing authority's nonprofit affiliate serving as the managing member of that partnership. And so under state law, those properties do continue to be property tax exempt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
They can still pay some form of payment in lieu of taxes, but we hope that you guys would allow us to be completely exempt.
And let me clarify that the bond transactions that we serve as a conduit, those do pay property taxes. Those are not exempt.
Yeah, no, that I know some places do pay pilots, but I know it's always a
yes
important. We got to get those numbers back up to where they once were. No, this is exciting. It's exciting. Let's keep it moving. Questions, y'all, for Ms. Matthews, Mr. McDowell, and Ms.
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Matthews and Ms. Guerrero. Is there any, two questions? When you moved someone out of Marion Street, is there assistance given for them when they relocate?
Oh, yes. We have to comply with the Federal Uniform Relocation Act, and it's very specific. We pay for all moving costs, all packing materials, all packing supplies. We pay their security deposit to the new unit they go to. We pay for any utility deposits or utility connection fees. We have 3 relocation specialists that are assigned to the Marion Street residents right now, and they each carry a caseload working with about 25 to 30 residents. As of last Friday, we had 73 residents left at Marion Street that are in the process of relocating. We have about 20% of the residents are relocating to other public housing. About 70% of them are relocating with the housing choice voucher to private market rental housing. And then we have about 10% that are relocating to other areas outside of Columbia where they have family. They want to go back to where their family is. And so the voucher allows them to do that.
So if they go into the private market piece, those same things apply to them in terms of what they get and their moving assistance and that sort of thing.
And then on an ongoing basis, they receive rental subsidies. So the residents would continue to pay the same rent that they've been paying at Marion Street.
Okay. Last question, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Guerrero, is it possible, and I appreciate the presentation today, but is it possible for us to get a hard copy of that in our inboxes?
Yes. We'll be happy to provide that. No problem. Yes, very much so.
That would help tremendously. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I also know we do have, if you see any corrections, please feel free to let us know. I do note that their village at Nazareth, I think we had was in City Council District 1. I think it's in District 2. So we'll make sure to note that. And I want to say too, anytime that we are meeting with community neighborhood associations or have some update as it relates to the properties that are in specific council districts, we'll certainly continue to keep that line of communications open with the council person to keep you guys updated.
Ms. Matthews, you're exactly right. That's one of the reasons I asked for a hard copy of that. And I think it would be good for all four of the persons who are in districts to look at that and see if they're, just to make sure we all of us are on the right track. Thank you, ma'am.
It's in your inbox, Reverend McDowell. I know Erica sent, I think, the most recent version, Ivory and Cindy, today, but we can send another updated version if you all need.
Well, I thank you. That means I haven't looked. Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions? It's a great report, y'all.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out the best way since you can't see me. So I put my little hand up and I try and put questions.
See the little hand. I'll keep my eye out for the hand and after Ms. Devine.
But just a couple things and thank you, Ms. Matthews and Ms. Herrera. I will say for us at-large members, don't leave us out. We represent the entire city, so the same information because we get more questions than just we represent the entire city. But I have 2 questions quickly. Number one, I know Ms. Matthews, you've mentioned this before, but I want to, for the public that's watching and for all of us who might not have constant communications with you. I know that sometimes there appears to be a lack of communication between the housing authority and the residents, or at least perceived. So can you tell us, like, as you're going through this process, how are you involving the current residents of the housing authority? How are they being informed of the plans, movement, everything else? And if there is any misinformation that we seem to get a hold of within the community, how best should we direct the residents to get the right information?
Absolutely. I would say if you're, on city council or, the mayor's office, if you get any information from the community, please redirect them to me, as the first point of contact, and I'll make sure to resolve those questions or concerns that anybody might have. Communication. So one of the things that we do is we over communicate. We use every avenue of communications tools that we have at our disposal. We do a lot of face-to-face communications. When prior to COVID, we met with families in a group setting over at the Tiller Center, where we provided transportation, and we met with the families to update them on our plans for Marion Street. And then when COVID-19 hit, we continued to have face-to-face communications. We do what is called socially distanced, safe door-to-door chats. And so we met with each family's door-to-door to answer all of their questions. And we did that. We do that a couple of times, just every other month. And then we also have assigned staff persons to we've deemed as relocation specialists, who meet and they're assigned to individuals and meet with them to answer any questions that they might have. We also document our communications through providing written letters, written correspondence to all of our residents. And then we also have virtual meetings with our residents, and we record our virtual conversations. And so we have those virtual the tapes and recordings of those virtual meetings, where we provide that information to residents if they want to go back and take a look at any of the things that we reviewed. So we're pretty flexible. We know that all of our families have different, different means of communications work better based on the individual. And so we're very aware of it, and want to make sure that we make this process as seamless as possible. So, that's our communications plan, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you. And then my final question just is, as anybody's reading or watching this presentation, what they're seeing is that within the next 10 years, public housing as we know it in the Midlands will be no more. There will, of course, be affordable units, but I know, and Councilman McDowell and I had this conversation with you when it came up about Marion Street, but I would like you to address for the mayor, members of City Council, gentrification and the reality that as you demolish and take away places and relocate, that is a huge concern, not just for our city, but everybody. And I would like to know how you and Ms. Herrera are addressing that as you're relocating people and planning for the future for the housing authority.
Certainly. One of the things I'd like to point everybody back to, and that is, at its heyday, the housing authority had 2,900 units of affordable housing. And our plans today show that we are not only putting back those units, but we're also increasing the number of affordable housing stock in our community. And so for us, we've been around for 87 years, and our focus and our mission is not on gentrification. It is on providing quality, affordable housing options for our families. And so we typically, I know it's kind of unfortunate for us to be lumped in the gentrification conversation, but we're not gentrifiers. We're mission driven. We're created by state law. We're funded federally. we have a mission and a vision to create affordable housing, and that's the space that we're in, and I think that we'll continue to provide more affordable housing options for our families in the city of Columbia.
I'd like to add to that also that this is a federal oversight as we undertake this RAD conversion. And there are very, very specific HUD and federal regulations. Every resident in a RAD conversion has a guaranteed right of return. Now, a few of the properties will not necessarily go through RAD. They'll go through a different type of conversion, and that doesn't necessarily apply. In those instances, the residents have preferences, but they may have to meet some new admission criteria. But under the RAD program, there is a federal mandate that every single resident has a guaranteed right to return with no rescreening. They cannot be rescreened to be able to come back to the new property. If they were living in the property at the time of the RAD conversion, they are able to return to the property. And we must work with the developers to assure that there is a unit for each and every family that was temporarily moved from that RAD conversion property. Yes, ma'am.
There's several. I mean, I've been reading through a lot of RAD stuff recently. A lot of hooks in there to ensure that existing residents are protected and
Yes.
and that's important. Mr. Brennan, I think City Manager has a question as well.
Yes, Ms. Matthews, Ms. Guerrero, you have a large portfolio of exciting projects ahead of you. Excited to see that you are creating a lot of new affordable housing, but I wanted to ask you about maintaining property management. I think as we have all seen, the best quality of life is from those property managers that commit to the compassion and engagement of their residents. Can you just briefly speak to who in this public-private partnership is really going to go the step beyond when it comes to the property management that we as a city council and city would desire for our residents?
Certainly. I'll start off and I'll turn it over to Cindy. One of the things when we enter these public-private partnerships, our property management is vetted thoroughly. And it has to be improved because private investors are bringing their private capital. And so they want to make sure that whoever is maintaining this property understands how to maintain the property and keep it at the best standard as possible. And that is also vetting tenants too. And so I think, one of the things that we did just a couple of months ago is we have some property where we just recently changed our property management for those properties. And so we went through we've already begun to do that process, and we have new property management companies that we've engaged in partnership with who are managing our properties. That's not on the public housing side, but under our nonprofit. Cindy, would you like to add some additional?
Yeah, these properties, the investors and the lenders have to approve and underwrite the property management component. So each of the development teams that we're working with, they brought to their team a property management company. So that property management company will initially be managing these properties because the lender and the investor will require that until the housing authority can build the capacity to get the lenders and the equity investors comfortable with property management being done in-house versus externally by third-party companies.
Yeah, just a continued of not just the bottom line practices, but really engaging neighborhood building, I think would be a wonderful addition to any future property management paths forward. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Wilson?
I was just going to continue the same point. I think my question was along the same lines. This is certainly exciting, and I wanted to thank Ivor and Cindy for their partnerships as we work with them quite often, members of my team and your team. But from a public safety and health safety perspective, what I'm hearing you say is going forward, initially it will be these identified property managers. I mean, the inventory you've described that are coming online in the short term certainly look impressive, as most do when you first build these properties, as we know, and we want to the point made by Mr. Brennan, ensure that the maintenance is there for the long haul. But also what has to be there, and I think what has become apparent to all of us along the way is the relationships between our chiefs and their teams and those responsible for the property. So I just want to be really clear that I'm understanding where that responsibility lies ultimately, and who should Chief Jenkins and the fire marshals and Chief Holbrook and his teams be, really going to when we're getting down to on a daily basis what's transpiring at the properties.
Absolutely. As we bring these properties on, before we bring them online, we'll engage those communications with the fire department, the police department, and all of the staff at the city that needs to have that relationship with the property management company, so that we can continue to keep that line of communications open.
Okay. But it would be the external property managers over time.
Yeah, it'll be a partnership of the property management company and the housing authority. We will serve as an asset manager. In other words, we'll be still ultimately overseeing the properties, because even once the developer exits, because they provided all of their guarantees, the housing authority to the lender and the investor still has to provide an ongoing operating guarantee. And so, it'll be a partnership with the third-party property management companies, and we will have the responsibility to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But as I said, most of the development teams have very experienced property management companies that they either have that are part of their entities or that they've worked with. And so we'll have a variety of property management entities on these properties, and we'll be engaged with the property management companies and with the city leaders and departments and all of the ongoing process.
Thank you.
Mr. Duval.
Ms. Herrera, you mentioned the relocation specialist.
Yes, sir.
The most important question has not been asked by this group yet is, can you put in the packet for relocation a redoing of their voter registration?
Sure, I think that's absolutely doable. When they transfer, the relocation specialist can make sure we're making sure all of their other services get transferred.
Make sure the voter registration gets transferred.
Yes,
Some of us won't be here today about them.
An important one to add to the checklist. We'll make sure that's on there. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Is that everyone? I want to thank you all for a comprehensive presentation. I know there are a couple of important dates coming up this summer and this fall mentioned in the presentation, but let's hit them all. We want to, I know at least I want to run through the tape, but let's get as much done as possible and what we can do to facilitate development. I think all the concerns that have been raised are very real and legitimate, but we're talking about just a truly new era in public housing as we know it. The number of units was significant many years ago, but the quality of those units were not indicative of the quality of life that the amazing families, many of whom now still work for the city of Columbia. Some of them have gone on to do amazing things in science, the arts, and industry, and religion. The quality of the housing years back was not representative of what the city of this country should have offered those families. Going forward with these new exciting public-private partnerships, we can give them so much more, and I'm excited about what the future holds over this next decade with the housing authority. What we'll be doing providing these families. I would be remiss if I did not say how impressed I am on the number of partnerships pulled together with some of our African American and minority-owned businesses as well. You pull together some national concerns, some incredible folks who've done great work in Columbia for years. I mean, like Connolly, including Integral, a great project on Main Street. But this is a really good mosaic of the talent that we have all across the country, being brought to bear on this metro area to the tune of what looks like $500 million. It's a big deal. So let's execute, and thanks for a comprehensive presentation and certainly all the other concerns raised. Let's kind of keep those top of mind, and let's work our way through the challenges that will come. We are human. We won't get it all perfect every step of the way, but this is a significant step forward in the right direction. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please
Thank
thank
you,
them. I know the commissioners are listening. Thank the commissioners as well. Yes, sir, Mr. McDowell.
Mr. Matt, just a word of thanks. I just want to thank not only for the presentation, but Ms. Matthews, thank you very much for allowing, we got a big food distribution on the 26th. And thank you very much for CHA's help in getting food out to all of the units. Thank you very much for allowing this effort to making sure that our seniors and those who are in Marion Street and the other facilities get a box of food. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anytime.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
To the manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Council. At this time, the consent agenda items 5 through 16 are here for your consideration.
Your motion?
So move.
Second. Any discussion? We'll move to the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Howard, you're on mute.
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor Benjamin and Council, thank you so much again for your support as we moved through an expedited budget process and now the budget ordinance's second reading. Item 17 is ordinance number 2021-022 to raise revenue and adopt the budget for the city of Columbia, South Carolina for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2022.
Is there a motion?
Move approval of the 022 ordinance.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move to the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. And let that reflect that this era will end with no tax increases on the people. All right.
We're gonna hear that for 6 months.
No, actually for 60. The item 18.
Yes, sir. Ordinance number 2021-041, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 23, Utilities and Engineering, Article 5, Water and Sewer Rates, Section 23-143, Water Service Rates, and Section 23-149, Sewer Service Rates A and B.
Is there a motion?
Move approval of ordinance number 041.
Seconded. Is there any discussion? We'll move to the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
No.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
No.
Mayor Benjamin.
I encourage about continuing to make the necessary improvements in our water system, our sewer system, and stormwater system. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Item 19, ordinance number 2021-042, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 23, Utilities and Engineering, Article 5, Water and Sewer Rates, Section 23-144, Special Water Service Fees.
All right. Is there a motion?
Move approval of ordinance number 042.
There's a second.
Second.
Discussion. Again, we got to continue making sure we protect our rivers, our streams, our areas, and providing clean water. This is important. With the previous question, Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickaman,
No.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 20, ordinance number 2021-043, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 23, Utilities and Engineering, Article 5, Water and Sewer Rates, Section 23-152, Sewer Plant Expansion Fee.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Again, this will be my last budget and my last time voting on water and sewer investment. I remember when I first became mayor, we just gotten in trouble with the EPA. We were looking at this consent decree staring down our face because we had not made the required investments in our water sewer system. We have steadily made those investments over the last decade. It's interesting because it's the kind of improvements you make that people don't see. So sometimes we don't necessarily appreciate the subterranean investments. We got the right team on the job, and I'm so encouraged, Teresa, you and Clint and the entire team. What we've been able to do together. This type of investment continues to make sure we keep our beautiful three rivers clean and our water clean and our community safe for posterity. We'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickaman,
No.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye. Comment.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Davis. You have a comment, Sam?
Well, yeah, just that, I think I've had very good reasons for my no answers on the others. Now, this I can live with moving forward, knowing how we've gotten to this point with where we want to stand with the federal government and our goals to go with clean water and keep the rivers clean and that sort of thing. The reason I can live with this is that I honestly remember the conditions we had on the rivers and the penalties that we as a city had to pay to the federal government and the period of time it took to get to this point. So that I could see as a necessary effort to make sure that we don't repeat that situation as a city.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Cost us a lot of money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Benjamin and Council. We'll move into a period of ordinances first reading. Item 21, ordinance number 2021-026, granting an encroachment to Lawrence McGuckin and Sandra McGuckin for the use of the right-of-way area of the 2000 block of Wheat Street and 500 block of Congaree Avenue for the installation and maintenance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickaman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 22 is an ordinance number 2021-044, annexing 8.8 acre portion on Old Leesburg Road. And Ms. Hampton's available if y'all have any questions for the next set of items, Mayor Benjamin.
So move. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Vernon,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
What number is this? Because my agenda says 20. The next item is the resolution. I don't have a second.
22, Daniel?
22.
It is.
it was item 28 on the agenda that went out on Friday.
All right.
And then, Mr. Rickerman, I was referring to when the public hearing or zoning matters occur, Ms. Hampton's available for those, but I think we do have some resolutions right after this.
Okay. Yeah. For some reason, the agenda I have that I printed off is not the same.
All right, so we're taking up item 2021-44. I think we're in the middle of roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye. Okay.
Ms. Devine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Now a period of resolutions, item 23, resolution number R 2021-046, authorizing a public hearing for the improvement plan for the City Center Improvement District.
Move approval.
So move.
Move Mr. Duval, second by Mr. McDowell. Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Ms. Devine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
And Ms. Hammond or Ms. Knotts, the public hearing authorized here can we remind the public how that will work? When will it occur?
The public hearing is scheduled for June 15th at 2 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Item 24 is resolution number R 2021-051, authorizing the city manager to execute a ground lease between the City of Columbia and Tomorrow's LLC for the lease of 721 Saluda Avenue in Richland County to be used as a public parking lot.
Move approval.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Ms. Devine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 25, resolution number R 2021-055, authorizing condemnation for easement acquisition for sanitary sewer main relocation along Leesburg Road from near Greenlawn Drive to near Lower Richland Boulevard.
A motion.
So move.
A second.
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Ms. Devine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 26, resolution number R 2021-057, authorizing condemnation for easement acquisition for sanitary sewer main relocation along Nunamaker Drive in Richland County.
All right, is there a motion?
So move.
A
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Ms. Devine,
All right. Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 27, resolution number R 2021-056, authorizing the purchase of a 0.02 acre portion of 7313 Lightner Road, identified as the Galaxy Sewer Lift Station site in Richland County.
Motion.
Move approval.
Second. Second. Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk call roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye, thank you. Public input?
Yes, sir. This public input is related to a street closing and transfer. Resolution number R 2021-054. The public input is needed on closing and transfer of Scrivens Alley between Gervais Street and Senate Street.
All right. Do we have any citizens who are maybe non-citizens, anyone from the public who signed up to speak on this issue?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Mr. Davis.
I'm still having problems with my volume. I did not hear your comments. Can you repeat those, please, on this item?
This is resolution 21-054. We're just seeing if there's any public input on the closing of and transfer of Scrivens Alley between Gervais and Senate Street. Did you hear me, Sam?
I'm hearing that. I believe I missed the purpose for the closure.
It's a very small alley
Ed,
between two
Yeah,
buildings.
it's been there
down
for
at
a
the
while and so
It's
forth.
been there for a while. That's correct.
Why is it being closed?
Chris,
My
is that-
understanding is the nearby property owner requested it, Mr. Davis. Are you able to hear us? And
I'm go ahead. I'm
My
doing my
underst-
best.
my understanding is the nearby property owner made the request, and after review of staff, and going through the legal department, it's on here for the normal process of the council to open it for public input, but you all don't take any other action on the item.
Okay, thanks. I just did not get the reason for the closing. That's all.
So the owner of the adjoining alley requests to close it. Is that right,
Uh-huh.
Ms. Wilson?
That's my
Not
understanding.
alley.
If I think it has to do with some clearing of title, perhaps. I'm not sure if legal is on to provide any other information because it went through the legal process to get here.
That's good. Thank you. I'm educated. I just didn't get it in the beginning.
Okay.
Is that something we need to act on? I'm sure we're going to be talking about this later on. Is that something we need to act on today?
You don't take any action, Reverend McDowell. It will be an executive session in case you all have any additional feedback for legal counsel.
All right. Thank you.
Do we have any members of the public who signed up to speak on the issue of Scrivens Alley? All right, let's keep moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 29 begins the public hearing, Mayor, and first reading for zoning and planning matters.
All right. Percival Road.
Good evening.
Good evening, Krista.
Krista.
Our first we'll let folks know how they can comment for the zoning public hearing. In addition to viewing the meeting at the city's website, the public may listen to audio and participate in the meeting via telephone by calling 855-925-2801. When prompted, enter the meeting code for this evening, which is 4978. And then you can press *1 and listen and stay on the line until the case is announced. If you wish to provide input when the case is called, you can press *2 to leave a voice message to be played back, or *3 to be placed in the speaker queue to speak live. City staff will unmute callers during the comment period. Callers are limited to 3 minutes, And if you are participating by phone, please remember to turn off any audio on other devices before you speak to avoid feedback. And that brings us to our first case, which is an annexation, future land use and zoning map amendment at 504 Percival Road. A request to annex, assign a land use classification of UEMR, and assign a zoning classification of general commercial, that's C3.
Do we have anyone who signed up to speak on this item?
No, sir, not at this time.
Okay.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? We'll move the previous question. The clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Annexation with future land use and zoning map amendment at 2213 Apple Valley Road. Request to annex, assigned a land use classification of urban edge residential and a zoning classification of general residential.
All right. Was anyone who signed up to speak in favor of or against this item? All right. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second? Any discussion? I'll move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Annexation with future land use and zoning map amendment for a 40.18 acre portion on the south side of Old Leesburg Road. Request to annex, assigned a land use classification of urban edge residential small lot and a zoning of single family residential.
Is anyone who signed up to speak in favor of or against this item?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Annexation, future land use and zoning map amendment for an 80 acre portion of the north side of Percival Road and various addresses along Percival Road. Request to annex, assigned a land use classification of urban edge residential small lot and a zoning of general residential and a portion within the floodplain.
All right. Does anyone speak in favor of or against this item?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Annexation with future land use and zoning map amendment at 7315 Coachmaker. Request to annex, assigned a land use classification of urban edge residential large lot and a zoning of single family residential.
Is there anyone to speak in favor of or against this item?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
You're on mute, Ed.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Moving into zoning map amendments, also known as rezonings. The first is at 707 Catawba Street.
Mr. Dan,
You're now on mute now, Ed.
So at 707 Catawba Street, a request to rezone the parcel from heavy industrial M2 planned development to office and institutional, that's C1 planned development.
So anyone speak in favor of or against this item?
No, sir.
I'll move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question and clerk call roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Mr.
I'm on
Vine,
the Zoom call.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
A zoning map amendment at 1041 Ponderosa Point Drive, request to rezone the parcel from light industrial M1 to heavy industrial.
Does anyone speak in favor of or against this item?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a move approval?
So moved.
All right, second. Any discussion? Move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
A zoning map amendment for the Congaree Point PUD. It's 64.17 acres on the north side of Bluff Road and multiple properties along Atlas.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? We'll move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
If it pleases council, 37 and 38 are relate to the same property and can be taken together. The first is the future land use map confirmation for 0.418 acres on the south side of Mabrin Road to confirm the classification of urban edge residential, and a zoning map amendment confirmation for the same property, request to confirm the zoning of single family residential.
Is there a motion?
Move
So moved.
37 and 38.
Did not ask for a public comment. Is anyone who signed up to speak on this matter?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Move the approval of 37 and 38.
There's a second.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, we'll move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving into zoning text amendments, number 39 is a text amendment to amend 17674, the criteria for review of design and structures in landmark districts.
All right. Is there anyone who's signed up to speak in favor of this?
Okay.
I move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll move the previous question, the clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Final item in your public hearing is a zoning text amendment to amend 17-283 of the Code of Ordinances to remove the special exception requirement for wireless communication facilities. This is being pursued. Ms. Bailey has drafted this to be in compliance with recent FCC orders on preemption.
So move. Is there a second? I'm sorry, is anyone who signed to speak in favor or against this?
Okay.
All right, I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benson.
All right.
That concludes your zoning public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. I haven't had a chance to dig into the BOZA applications. If it's okay if we wait until the next meeting, y'all. We got a whole lot going on there, unless you guys have some.
We have only one
Only
appointment. and
one.
it's Sam, and Sam's already got his name ready.
You got somebody you're happy with, Sam?
Yeah.
All right. Some folks gonna have to sue.
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
No, this one comes highly recommended from the neighborhood.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
The name, Sam.
Well, we'll see.
Is Ashley gonna run this? Who's running the part? Who's on?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, Ashley, can you assist Mr. Davis? I think he's maybe having some.
No, I just didn't hear the mayor's. I thought he had a question. No, I'm fine.
I do not. Who we have for BOZA, Ashley? I think I saw her blink.
Mayor, there's Celia McIntosh from Council District 1 is being recommended by Mr. Davis.
All right.
A second.
All right. Celia McIntosh. Nominations were moved and seconded. Any discussion? We'll move the previous question.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Yes, aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Also holding item 42, Mayor Benjamin and Council, we have one other matter, item 43. Council is asked to approve the installation of 4 speed humps and a speed limit reduction from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour along Lakewood Drive in the Earlwood neighborhood.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. I forgot. I meant to ask TK. TK, can I vote on this?
Earlwood neighborhood speed bumps, yeah.
This is my street.
Oh.
No, I wouldn't know if I was you.
Okay. All right, Ms. Hammond, if you could send me the form. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the first bump like right at the beginning of your house and the second bump at the end of your house, or?
They actually asked me permission if it can go in front of my house, but I honestly don't know where we landed because I'm so close to the stop sign, but nobody really wanted it. Everybody wants the speed hump, but nobody wanted the sign in their yard, so I'm not exactly sure where it's going.
I dealt with that issue last night at the neighborhood meeting. You have to tell folks, some people want it, some don't, especially if it's in front of their house or blocks their driveway.
We'll move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Not voting.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor Benjamin, I'm not sure if you or your colleagues have any committee referrals or reports. No, Mr.
Anyone? All right. So we're holding reports and no referrals. Fantastic. Mr. Duval, you got something for me?
Mr. Mayor, I move we go into executive session for receipt of legal advice related to matters covered by attorney-client privilege pursuant to SC Code 30-4-78-2, COVID-19, Executive Order 2021-23, conversion therapy, closing and transfer of Scrivens Alley, Colony Apartments, and police officers. Receipt of legal related to pending claim pursuant to Code 30-4-78-2 to one Taylor White versus COC.
And Mayor Benjamin, you may want to just make sure there was no additional public input prior to going into executive session, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'll second Mr. Duval's motion, but let's go into discussion period, right? Have anyone who's signed up to speak, Madam Clerk?
All right, so we have 3 callers in the speaker queue.
Okay, we want to definitely take them. I assume procedurally, parliamentarily, we can hold that motion in abeyance right now, and let's take the citizens. Thank you, Teresa, for the catch.
Yes, sir, and Miss Erica, of course.
I'll add the first caller now.
Yes, hello. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, City Council, for all of the hard work that you do. And I especially want to applaud you for considering this motion to ban conversion therapy in the city of Columbia. My name is Edwin Hayes. I'm an infectious disease physician and an internal medicine physician. I work with the Prisma Health System at Richland and Baptist Hospitals in Park Ridge, as well as with the Providence Health System. I also do primary care. I treat COVID-19. I treat HIV. As you can imagine, it's been a very busy year. I also do a lot of primary care, and I see a lot of patients from the gay, lesbian, transgender community in my office. And I can tell you emphatically that the only outcomes that I've seen from conversion therapy have been trauma and suicidality. I've studied this closely. There are many scientific papers that reinforce the idea that there is no benefit to conversion therapy. And if anything, we see that it causes harm, especially in the youth. And this is something that I've personally seen in my patients, increased issues with suicidality, people traumatized who become re-traumatized even by trying to hug their family members of the same sex because of things that they'd gone through, either emotionally, mentally, or even physically, attempting to change something about themselves. I think it's very important that treatments that we give, including therapy, are done in a way that is supportive of our local community and is based on science and proven outcomes that will lead to healthier, more productive, safe lives. And that's not something that we see with conversion therapy. Time and time again, this is something that's been come out against by the American Medical Association, the counseling associations that oversee ethics and credentialing for counselors across the country. And when you look at the training that goes into things like therapy, you'll see that there are no standard conversion therapy classes because it's something that's been discounted time and time again by the studies showing how it could work. So there is no accredited training, which means there is no ethical standard to hold conversion therapy to. It has the efficacy of snake oil. And I think that its utility is something that really just brings about bad outcomes. And that's something I see with my patient population. I can't emphasize enough how damaging conversion therapy has been to the local patient population here. And I really applaud you for looking at this motion and considering banning it, especially for our most vulnerable population, who certainly should not be experimented on with therapies that have been proven not to work and are often harmful. I'm welcome to take if there are any questions or comments.
I don't have any. No, thank you, Dr. Hayes. Thank you for participating, and thank you and all of our medical professionals for your incredible work over the last year and a half, but certainly even before that, and I know it continues. So thank you for sharing with us your professional experience.
Yes, thank you all so much.
Be well. Madam Clerk?
Okay, our next caller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council representatives, and staff. My name is Dylan Gunnels. I'm founder and equity designer at the Agape Table, which is an organization dedicated to creating spaces of healing for our queer friends and people of faith. I have spoken with many of you individually at this point about this ordinance. And very, very thankful to each of you, Tamika and Howard, who have been working on this ordinance and putting it out for consideration. And thankful to each of you who have listened to my concerns regarding the ordinance. We know that the psychological and psychiatric as well as pediatric associations have made it clear from a scientific perspective that conversion therapy does not work, that it is ineffective and oftentimes leads to trauma and suicide. So I'm not here to speak to you as an expert today. I'm here to speak to you as two things. One, as a queer person who has been through conversion therapy myself, and also a queer person of faith. I understand that this ordinance has gotten a lot of backlash, a lot of pressure from religious entities and more conservative religious entities. Let me say it boldly and say it clearly. I'm queer and I love Jesus. I'm queer and I'm a person of faith. I'm queer and I went through conversion therapy without choice. It didn't help me. It only harmed me. At 28 years old, I am still dealing with some of the traumas with my therapist now, who is actually licensed and able to walk me through those issues that I faced. I know that you are facing pressures from places all across the country regarding this ordinance. All I can do is tell you as a person who's experienced it, please do what is right for the sake of our youth. Please do what is right for the sake of our most vulnerable populations here in the city. You are sending a message by doing this. You are sending a message to people that equity is the forefront of the city of Columbia and protection of our youth is at the forefront for the city of Columbia. Thank you so much for consideration of this today, and I hope that you will pass this ordinance.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for the leadership you provide in our neighborhoods. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, hello. This is Dr. Richard McCain. Can you hear me?
You sure can, Doctor. You sure can.
I assume so, yes. I want to thank Edwin Hayes and the Agape gentlemen for their passionate discussion this afternoon. And I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council, for the great work you do. I can only imagine the lengthy hours that you devote to our city. I'm so proud of your work over these past years during the flood, sewer line repairs and enhancements, and the housing that was discussed earlier this day. It's just actually amazing. I am concerned on several fronts about a recent motion to outlaw conversion therapy for adolescents confused about their sexual orientation or gender. I am going to disagree with my friend, fellow physician. The science simply does not support this direction. It is accepted that 85% of minors who are confused about their sexual identity or gender will desist with watchful waiting. This includes supportive counseling and not conversion therapy. I sent Mr. Rickerman earlier today, this afternoon, a published study out of Sweden, which is really the only long-term study on gender transition surgery. It has 30 years of follow-up. This study showed an increase in suicide. The graph, Mr. Rickerman, is on page 7 of 18. This Swedish study is a 30-year study. It shows an increase in suicide and a marked increase in mortality for those who have completed sexual reassignment surgery. The popular misquoted American Psychological Association's Gay and Lesbian Task Force in 2009 report stated specifically that modern change allowing therapy since 1978 was non-aversive, meaning free of painful or shame infliction, which is what people refer to when they speak of conversion therapy. And the same American Psychological Association's Gay and Lesbian Task Force in 2009 said that research meeting scientific standards did not allow attributing harm or inefficacy to change allowing therapy. I should also say that many people feel minors cannot give truly informed consent. They have a developing brain, their minds change often, and sometimes they don't grasp long-term consequences. In addition, puberty blockers chemically castrate at the level of the brain. They risk infertility by blocking the maturation of sperm and eggs. Following them with cross-sex hormones assures sterility. So here we are, and with dealing with adolescents who in 85% of the time will settle with their biological sex, and we're actually chemically castrating them at the level of the brain. And as for cross-sex hormones, estrogen use in male biology strongly increases the risk of blood clots, heart attacks, strokes, and breast cancer. And testosterone use in female biology strongly increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, breast, and uterine cancer. GAT's suicide reduction claim is a myth. It simply is not true. And if you look at the study, Mr. Rickerman, perhaps during the executive session, can share that study with you. Page 7 of 18, you can look for yourself a 30-year follow-up from sex reassignment surgery, 324 transsexual persons in Sweden, male to female 191 and female to male 133. You can read the graph for yourself. There's a marked increase in all-cause mortality, and there is an increase in suicide, not a decrease in suicide. So,
Dr.
yes,
McCain,
we are to follow the science. The science will disagree, but this is the only long-term study, and I challenge Mr. Hayes for a long-term study. Gender dysphoria somewhat resembles
Dr.
body
McCain,
disorder. Yes, sir.
we gotta wrap up. I do hope you can share the study with the rest of us, or Daniel can forward that on. But give you a few more moments to maybe wrap up your comments, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what would I say? I am all for compassion. I hate no one. I'm in healthcare for healing and restoration, but I would just caution us as a city council. There's a difference of opinion, and there is a difference in scientific validity of a long-term study versus a short-term study. We have to be so careful with gender dysphoria. It somewhat resembles body dysmorphic disorder. No one would ever offer a patient with anorexia nervosa a stomach stapling procedure. It's illogical. So I just urge caution. Something like this probably belongs more under the State Board of Medical Examiners, or LLR, than a city council. But thank you for your work. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank
And
you, Doc.
my prayers it will make a reasoned decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Those are 3 of 3. Any other citizens want to speak?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I'll move the previous question on the standing motion.
Mr. Brennan,
Yes.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell,
You're muted.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
All right, thank you, ma'am.